So I've got hooded eyes that are downturned and also quite round. It's hard to find makeup that actually looks presentable, and sometimes even if it is the perfect makeup, when you close your eye, when you open it, it can look like it's your first ever time doing makeup, which we don't want. We want to look like anything is intentional, right? We want to look like we know what we're doing. So I will be here as your mentor. We will be going through hooded downturned eye makeup. So hopefully this at least helps some people, because I know that if this is a tutorial that existed a couple of years ago, it would have been something that I would immediately have clicked on, because yeah, the market's quite small for it. So hopefully this at least helps a couple. We're starting by pinning my hair back, and I'm just going to do my base off camera just to make everyone's life easier. So I will be back with you with a base on. I've kept it pretty simple, just some concealer, blush and bronzer, and obviously my eyebrows have been done. But that's pretty much it. I don't typically go in with too much on my skin because it is pretty sensitive to breaking out, so I try not to overload it with product. If anything, I go in more with skincare over my whole face, and then just, yeah, bronzer, blush and concealer as and where I need it. To start off with the eyes, if we bring you guys a little bit closer, I like to keep it pretty simple. As I say, too much makeup on hooded eyes does look a bit weird. And if you see me glancing here, that is my viewfinder, just to make sure that I am actually in frame, because this is very close. So yeah, all I've done so far is just go in with concealer and a beauty blender, just covering that as like a base. I don't typically go in with any kind of primer. I don't really believe in primers. I've never seen a primer do too much. So I will just go in with concealer and then call that a day. So my main focus is kind of just defining shape, just to kind of accentuate the eye shape that we already have. I know that a lot of people with hooded eyes especially, they'll just kind of bring colour all the way up here, just because otherwise it doesn't really look like you're wearing anything. But I keep it pretty light on the eyeshadow front. The only eyeshadow that I use is a cream one. It's the Sugar Coat by Misguided in the shade Let's Toast. So all I pretty much do with this is, as I say, is a cream. So it kind of comes out like a lip gloss kind of applicator, and I will just take it just on the edges here. And you can go in with a darker shade. This is pretty light, but I'm quite pale, so I can't get away with using that much pigment. So this is kind of as much as I can do. And I will just take just a really tiny little brush, and I just apply it on like the outer half. I don't put anything on the inner half, and I just blend it out. Because it's a cream, it blends like with close to no effort, so you don't really have to do too much. And I do bring it down. I don't put any product here, but I blend it down. The same with going over here. I don't put product there, but I blend it over. And at the same time, while I'm here, I'm getting rid of any concealer creasing, if it is occurring. So it's pretty subtle, it's quite pale, quite light. I don't love too much colour going on up there because you don't really see it anyway, so it feels like a bit of a waste. This is what we're looking like. It is very much a trust the process kind of look, so just hang with me. I then take a brightening concealer, like one that's very, very, very bright. Like if I was to apply this to my actual skin, it would only go right here, because it is that light, but that's what I want. And I don't even apply this here because this stuff spreads so far. You don't really need that much, so I just put it on the back of my hand, like so, like this. And I take this tiny little brush. I think this is technically for eyebrows, but it's double-sided. I use this end for highlighting, and I just use this as like almost a cut crease, but like a blended cut crease, like a highlighting kind of look on the inner half. So I just take it like that, just to kind of brighten up this middle area of our face. And I just blend it out with my finger, to be honest. As I say, it's quite, again, quite subtle, but it does what it needs to. the main event of this is eyeliner. Taking the NYX Professional Makeup Epic Ink Liner. And it does bubble up a little bit, so I do have to be careful whenever I'm using this to make sure it doesn't go everywhere. Okay, so I'm gonna go from obviously the outer corner here, and we are just gonna go straight out. We're not gonna angle it anyway, just straight line. Like that. And then I do it pretty thin, to be honest. I used to do a really chunky eyeliner, but it doesn't really look good when I'm actually got my eyes open and I'm looking at you. But it looks really good on camera when you're like taking selfies at like a downward angle, but for real life, it's not very practical. So I just do a thin line. I connect it to like a third in. So like a third of the way into the eye, like right here, is where it will go. I like to do it while looking straight ahead so I can see how it will look when my eyes are fully open, because that's like what you want. Do a thin wing like that. And I do like to do, the only time I look down is when I'm just doing a like almost tight lining, but like on the lash line. Like that. Like a really tiny amount. So I'm not really doing anything to counteract the tilt of my eyes, but I will bring some focus in the middle here just to kind of make them look like they're straight. Just to kind of bring the eyes, and it kind of makes them look like they're more straight. And then I take highlighter, as I say, on a tiny little bit of a brush. And this palette is probably older than me. It's by MUA, which doesn't actually exist anymore. And I literally just take, it's like a champagne, but like it's almost white kind of colour. It's really very bright. And rather than going over the whole inner corner, I will just take it on the bottom. Like that. So literally just this line here. And I like almost follow the line, like I will put concealer like that. So you line the brow. And then I take a really old eyelash curler. Curl my lashes. It does help open the eyes a little bit more when they are curled. So I typically don't miss this step. Even if I'm only applying mascara, I will curl the lashes. Then I'm using the Maybelline, the Colossal Go Extreme. Again, because it's quite voluminous, so again, this will open everything up. And I won't add any to my bottom lashes. My bottom lashes are pretty long for some reason. I don't really know why, but it doesn't help my downturned look when I have mascara on them, so I typically just leave them be. And that is that. Even though my eyes do have that tilt to them, with this makeup, you can barely tell. Like, it almost gives siren eyes when I have doe eyes. So this is the makeup that I will usually do. I will usually go in with my brown eyeliner rather than my black one. However, it decided to dry out the one time that I was going to use it on camera, so I did end up using black eyeliner, but as you can see, it looks brilliant on camera, so I don't mind. An additional step, if you are wanting more definition in your eyes, is I would typically take my brow pencil and I will just tightline underneath the bottom lash line, only until about halfway in, because obviously we've got the highlighter there, so that is the only other thing that I would do, but I'm pretty happy with how this looks at the moment. I don't feel like I need that extra definition, but sometimes if I am feeling it, I will go in with that. But yeah, this is how we're looking. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Love ya. Bye.